Barack Obama has nominated former Nebraska Senator Chuck Hagel to be the next Secretary of Defense, painting him as part saint, part American hero. But Hagel is no saint and definitely not an American hero. Hagel was appointed to Deutsche Bank's America's Advisory Board in 2009. Deutsche is being investigated for funneling billions of dollars to Iran's nuclear enrichment program. Hagel's support for our enemies doesn't just include Iran, but Islamic radicals' favorite terrorist group, Hezbollah. In 2006, Hagel is one of a handful of senators that refused to vote for a resolution to designate Hezbollah, the group that has been raining hundreds of missiles on Israel, as a terrorist organization and support Israel's right of self-defense.
It hits the Israeli town of Nazareth today, killing 3 people, including 2 children. Nazareth, of course, is the hometown of Jesus, about 19 miles south of the Lebanese border. It's mainly an Arab town, but it's filled with churches. Hezbollah rockets continue to rain on Israel, creating more death and destruction. Some Israeli hospitals have moved underground to treat the anxious and the wounded.
In 2006, the Muslim Brotherhood Front Group, Council on American and Islamic Relations, CARE, praised Hagel as the only possible 2008 presidential candidate.
Presidential candidates for 2008, like Hillary Clinton, John McCain, Joe Biden, and Newt Gingrich, were falling all over themselves to express their support for Israel. The only exception to that rule was Senator Chuck Hagel, who expressed mild reservation about what Israel and the United States were doing in Lebanon.
In 2009, speaking at the Soros-funded pro-Palestinian front group J Street's National Conference, he called for Israel to hemorrhage most of its land to Palestinians. Of course, Barack Obama repeated this idiocy 2 years later.
The United States believes that negotiations should result in 2 states with permanent Palestinian borders with Israel, Jordan, and Egypt, and permanent Israeli borders with Palestine. We believe the borders of Israel and Palestine should be based on the 1967 lines with mutually agreed swaps, so that secure and recognized borders are established for both.
But the most troubling aspect of Hagel's so-called career in public service as a U.S. Senator from 1997 to 2009 is that he may in fact have stolen the election in both of his senatorial terms. Beginning in 1992, Hagel was CEO of Election Systems and Software, maker of computerized voting machines. On March 15, 1995, Hagel resigned as CEO but kept millions in stock options and declared that he was going to run for the U.S. Senate in Nebraska, although he was a virtually unknown candidate. Although he ran against a former governor, Ben Nelson, who was hugely popular. And although the polls prior to the election indicated Ben Nelson would win the election, oddly Hagel won by a landslide with 83% of the vote. It later turned out that Hagel's voting machines had been used in virtually all of the precincts. When Hagel ran for re-election in 2006, his previous landslide of 83% was eclipsed by an even wider margin. It turns out that Hagel's former company, Election Systems and Software Diebold Voting Machines, now count the votes in most elections. It turns out that Hagel's voting machines have been embroiled in investigations of vote switching, ease of hacking votes for years that continues to this day. Was this the cause of all the voting machine problems in the last election?
And Brandon, you talked with a voter who says she punched her choice for president several times before the machine even accepted it.
Yeah, that's right, Neil. Cheryl Cromalis told us that she cast her vote for Governor Romney, but every time she did, it went for President Obama. Now, the Guilford County Board of Elections says that this type of mistake happens from time to time, and today we learned that those machines at Burr Mill have been fixed, but a couple of voters feel like that excuse just isn't enough when this race is so close. Cheryl Cromalis was looking forward to voting this year in the presidential election.
I said I wanted to do it early and get it over with.
Cher is one of many early voters in Guilford County, but what happened to her at Burr Mill Park Monday has her worried.
I don't feel good about it. It's scary.
Cher says the voting machine at Burr Mill cast the wrong ballot. Here's what happened. Cher says she pressed the selection, Governor Mitt Romney for president, but when she cast her vote, it went to President Obama. She says she tried again and again, 3 times total, and still the same problem.
Did Obama use Hagel's fixed voting machines in order to garner, quote, astronomical election results? Mr. Hagel, Mr. Obama, show us the votes.